The year 2001 marked a turning point in Megan Levy's life, though she wasn't aware of it yet. Everything around her was collapsing. Her job was gone, her parents were divorced, and she had been left to endure the emptiness of a home where her mother barely acknowledged her. The grief of losing her best friend had already hollowed out a part of her, and as the days bled together in a haze of disappointment and exhaustion, the thought settled heavily in her mind. If she didn't escape now, she would wither away in the very life she had built around her suffering. With no clear plan, no belongings packed, no goodbye, Megan left. Her mother's call came halfway through her journey, an urgent, bewildered demand for an explanation. It turned out Jackie had found a U.S. Marine Corps pamphlet in Megan's room, piecing together the truth of her daughter's abrupt departure. A woman enlisting in the Marines was far from conventional, yet that wasn't Megan's concern. She wasn't searching for approval, she was searching for purpose. The moment she arrived at boot camp, Megan faced the first brutal wake-up call. The training demanded more than just discipline. It stripped down everything she had ever been, forcing her to forge herself into something stronger. Her civilian life of comfort and recklessness had done little to prepare her for the exhaustion of pushing her body beyond its limits, the relentless drills that broke her spirit, and the nights of aching limbs and bruised resolve. But day after day, she endured. And when the time came, Megan did what she had once believed impossible. She became a Marine. Her mother did not come to the ceremony that should have marked a moment of triumph. Jackie, instead, arrived days later, dragging someone named Jim to a restaurant meetup with Megan. The conversation turned ugly fast. Jackie, rather than celebrating Megan's success, steered the discussion toward their fractured family. The revelation hit like a dull, expected blow. Jackie revealed that she had been having an affair with her husband's best friend. But the worst revelation came later, when Jackie finally exposed why she had come at all. She hadn't come to support her daughter. She had come for the insurance payout, to find out how much money she would receive if Megan died on the battlefield. That was the moment Megan stood up and walked out, leaving Jackie and her empty selfishness behind. Megan's next assignment sent her to San Diego, where she was integrated into a patrol unit alongside Timmons and Lopez, two female Marines who had also fought hard to earn their place. The three spent their nights drinking recklessly, drowning the weight of their responsibilities in alcohol-fueled laughter. As they left the pub, the consequences of their excess arrived swiftly. Timmons vomited onto the pavement, while Megan, too drunk to care, urinated in public, right outside the provost marshal's office. They were caught immediately, hauled before commanding officers the next day. For Megan, the warning was stark. One more mistake, and she would be expelled from the Marine Corps. As punishment, she was transferred from patrol to a facility that cared for military working dogs, a demotion that forced her into the most unpleasant duties imaginable. Gunny Martin, her new superior, wasted no time throwing her into the worst tasks. Scrubbing dog cages, reeking of filth, handling untamed animals, and enduring humiliation for an entire week. It was here, amid the overwhelming stench, that she first saw Rex, a dog with sharp eyes, raw aggression, and barely contained energy. Megan assumed her new role would be limited to cleaning up after the dogs, but she was wrong. Soon enough, Martin assigned her to a different task, one far more painful. She became the dummy for attack training, clothed in thick padding as the dogs were unleashed to sink their teeth into her gear. The first time she faced Rex, she saw the sheer force and intensity of an animal trained for war, an unrelenting predator designed to detect danger before it struck. Martin wasted no time explaining the true purpose of the canine unit. The dogs weren't just companions, they were the first line of defense in an ambush. They sniffed out hidden bombs, detected traps, and secured paths in hostile territory. The knowledge sent a surge through Megan's veins. Fear and adrenaline intertwined, awakening the same thrill she had felt when she first enlisted. She wanted this challenge. She wanted to prove herself. Later, Megan returned to Rex's cage, determined to break through her hesitation. She asked Martin what it would take to become a dog handler, only to learn that this role required more than just cleaning cages and surviving bites. She needed to be an expert marksman, physically capable of enduring combat, and above all, she had to score over 90% on the qualifying tests. The week ended, and Megan was supposed to return to standard duties, but she had made up her mind. This was her path. She trained relentlessly, pushing herself past exhaustion in target practice, strength tests, and mental conditioning. When the test day arrived, she not only passed, she ranked the highest among her peers, earning recognition for her sharpshooting skills. Despite qualifying, Megan wasn't assigned a dog immediately. Instead, she was given a training can, an empty substitute for the real experience. Then, Martin gathered the team of dog handlers, and Megan noticed she was the only woman among them. A sergeant named Andrew, freshly returned from Iraq, stood before them, his presence weighted by experience. The tales he told were far removed from textbook military training. They were harsh truths of war, stories of unpredictability, chaos, and survival. Though the dogs were trained, nothing could fully prepare them for live combat zones. The sense of real bombs, ones they had never encountered before, would throw them off. Sandstorms would obscure their ability to detect threats. Rivers would break their focus, and the battlefield would test them in ways simulations never could. He made one fact painfully clear. Any mistake out there could mean death, and if they weren't ready to accept that, they had no place in the front lines. Megan listened to every word. She understood the risk, and for the first time since she had joined, she felt ready. The bond between handler and dog wasn't just about obedience. It was about trust, survival, and an unspoken connection forged through time and hardship. The canine unit was trained to withstand the dangers of war, but they weren't invincible. Injuries on the battlefield were inevitable, so the team had to be prepared to treat wounds, stabilize their partners, and ensure that their dogs had the best chance at survival. Megan, despite starting with a can as her stand-in training dog, learned every detail of combat veterinary care, knowing that one day she'd need those skills when it mattered most. At the same time, Walter struggled with his assigned dog, who happened to be Rex, the same powerful and aggressive Belgian Malinois that had bitten Megan before. The tension between handler and canine escalated during training, ending in a vicious bite that rattled Walter's confidence. Frustrated and concerned for his own safety, Walter complained to Martin, hoping for reassignment. The decision was swift and non-negotiable. Martin reassigned Rex to Megan instead. Walter protested, but Martin's word was final. Faced with her new partner, Megan approached Rex's cage, mindful of the fire in his eyes, the way his muscles tensed with instinctual aggression. She didn't expect immediate submission. She knew earning Rex's trust would take patience and resilience. She sat with him, offering food, waiting him out, refusing to react to his stubborn refusal to engage. She let time do the work, and eventually, Rex relented, stepping toward her, recognizing that she wasn't just another soldier looking for control. She was his new handler. The next phase of training was challenging. Megan struggled to trust Rex's instincts, forcing control rather than allowing him to lead in bomb detection drills. Andrew noticed her hesitation, stepping in to correct her approach. He explained that bomb patterns weren't always predictable, and while humans relied on strategy, a dog's sense of smell surpassed logic. The trust had to go both ways. She couldn't guide Rex if she didn't believe in his abilities. He couldn't teach her how to form the bond. That was something she had to figure out herself. Days turned to weeks, and through repetition, Rex became obedient, moving with seamless precision through training exercises. Their partnership strengthened, though Megan knew the real test wouldn't be in drills. It would be on the battlefield. Before deployment, she sat with Rex, methodically treating him, checking his paws, inspecting his joints, ensuring he was in top condition. Walter, cleaning cages nearby, watched the quiet ritual, recognizing the deep connection between handler and dog. He wished them luck, understanding the importance of their mission. The night before departure, Megan couldn't sleep, the weight of what lay ahead pressing into her thoughts. She went to Rex's cage, quietly leading him to her room, needing his presence more than she cared to admit. The next morning, they stood at the airstrip, backpacks strapped, weapons secured. They would be gone for 7 months, stationed in Iraq, where every day would be a fight for survival. Andrew, standing before Megan, placed his hand on her shoulder. He prayed for her, wished for her safe return with Rex beside her. The flight to Iraq was restless. Rex barked aggressively, unsettled by the turbulence, his instincts telling him something was off. Megan reacted swiftly, securing his cage, lying beside him, ensuring he felt her steady presence. Eventually, he calmed. Their arrival at Camp Ramadi in Al-Anbar province was immediate reality. Gunfire crackled through the air, slicing through the silence of the night. a sharp reminder that the war was never far away. Megan slept in her room with Rex, the dog stirring with unease, every sound triggering alertness. The battlefield waited, and Megan felt its pull. Morning arrived, and Megan was assigned to the front lines, her first day in combat. The tension curled in her stomach as she met Morales, an experienced dog handler with his canine partner Chico. Their assignment required combing designated areas, inspecting passing vehicles for threats. Morales, sensing Megan's first-day nerves, warned her about the unpredictability of the war zone. Nothing could be assumed, nothing could be trusted. The day was grueling, uncertainty pressing into every action, every vehicle check, every moment of stillness before potential danger. Megan began training Rex harder, pushing him during downtime at base camp, knowing that their effectiveness could save lives. The work never stopped. One mission threw her directly into the fire. Megan and Rex were tasked with searching a house, while Morales scouted the streets. The homeowner, insisting he was a simple carpet salesman, spoke with an air of false innocence, yet Rex knew better. His instincts locked onto the walls, his posture stiffening. Megan followed his cues and found the hidden weapons, exposing the truth beneath the lies. The moment cemented Megan and Rex's abilities as a frontline team, a unit that couldn't be easily fooled. With each successful mission, Megan earned respect, recognized as one of the most reliable Marines in combat. Her friendship with Morales deepened, their conversations revealing pieces of why they had chosen this life. Megan, for the first time, shared the story of her best friend's death. How a night of drinking had led to an overdose. How it should have been her, not her friend, lying lifeless on that floor. The regret weighed her down, but Morales understood. The past couldn't be undone, but the future could be claimed. As days passed, Megan and Rex continued to lead missions, their efficiency proving vital in securing streets before convoys. One operation required sweeping an overpass, uncovering a bomb hidden on the structure. Their successes placed them above Morales and Chico, cementing their reputation. The next mission, however, pushed them to the edge of survival. Deployed 10 kilometers from base, Megan and Rex worked tirelessly to clear the road before the convoy passed through. Rex uncovered multiple mines, each discovery reinforcing their importance. But after 2 hours, just as they marked a bomb location, an unmarked car approached at alarming speed, refusing to slow down. With warning shots fired, the driver halted, surrendering. Megan stepped forward, her instincts screaming that something was off. Then, the explosion happened. The force sent Megan and Rex flying, slamming into the ground with crushing impact. Pain tore through her body, Rex's wounded form lying beside her, his breathing strained. The aftermath was unforgiving. Command demanded answers as to why Rex hadn't detected the mine. It was discovered that the explosives had been buried deeper, deliberately hidden from detection, and triggered by a remote detonator, an attack targeting them directly. Despite her injuries, Megan refused to stand down, rejecting replacement by Morales. This had become personal. With unwavering determination, she led Rex into one final mission, storming a suspected enemy surveillance house, refusing to back away from the fight. The operation took a turn when Megan and Rex uncovered the remote detonator, responsible for the blast that had nearly killed them. The moment should have been a victory, but Rex's sudden, uncontrollable barking sent a chill through Megan. Before anyone could react, an RPG attack came from the opposite direction, raining destruction onto their team. Chaos erupted as soldiers scrambled for cover, their ammunition dangerously low. Injuries mounted, forcing the unit into a retreat, abandoning their search for additional explosives. Megan barely made it into the escape vehicle. Her body had slammed against the ground when she fell, and for a terrifying moment, she thought she would be left behind. But with sheer determination, she pulled herself up, helped by Rex, and made it back to the convoy, escaping by the narrowest margin. Upon returning to base, Megan and Rex were separated, not by choice, but necessity. Megan's injuries required immediate medical treatment, and when the doctor diagnosed her with a ruptured eardrum, she barely reacted. Her only concern was Rex. Despite her protests, she was sent back to America for 3 weeks, undergoing rehabilitation and retraining before she could return to active duty. Her arrival home should have been a moment of relief, but Megan was far from at peace. Her father, Bob, greeted her warmly, eager to bring her to her mother's house for Christmas. But Megan's heart was elsewhere. She couldn't stop thinking about Rex. No one had updates on his condition, no reports of his recovery. Unable to sit in uncertainty, she drove to headquarters herself, determined to find answers. At the facility, she ran into Andrew, preparing for his deployment with Bruno, his trusted canine partner. The reunion was bittersweet, filled with stories of survival and the lingering tension of war. Then, finally, the news she had been waiting for arrived. Rex had returned to headquarters. Megan rushed to his side, watching as Rex underwent medical treatment, mirroring the process she herself had endured. She accompanied him during his therapy sessions, committing herself to her recovery too, and when the Marines appointed her as a trainer for incoming dog handlers, she took the role without hesitation. But her mind remained divided. She wanted Rex fully healed, not just for duty, but because she couldn't imagine leaving him behind again. Months passed, and with them, Morales returned from deployment. Their reunion was unexpectedly emotional, revealing feelings they had ignored in the battlefield. Megan confided in him, admitting that even though she had left Iraq, she could still feel the bomb exploding behind her, still hear the ringing in her head, still sense the tension before disaster. PTSD wasn't just a shadow, it had become part of her. The war continued without them, and with it came devastating news. Sergeant Andrew was killed in action, sacrificing himself to stop a suicide bomber. His partner, Bruno, survived, but Andrew did not make it. The loss was a jarring reminder that war had no guarantees. Death could come for anyone, at any time. Megan realized the same could have happened to her, and more painfully, could happen to Rex. The weight of reality drove her to a difficult decision. Despite being cleared for re-enlistment, she chose not to return for Rex's sake. When she approached Martin with her choice, he laughed. "No one truly leaves the Marines," he insisted. The battlefield changed who one was, and there was no normal life waiting outside of it. He gave her 2 weeks to reconsider, confident she would change her mind. But Megan had already made up her mind. She wanted to adopt Rex and live as a civilian. However, the adoption process wasn't simple. A military veterinarian determined that Rex was unfit for adoption, citing his aggressive behavior as a permanent issue. Megan begged them to reconsider, arguing that his trauma had made him react defensively. But the decision was final. The label unadoptable sealed Rex's fate. Without Megan's knowledge, Rex was prepared for redeployment, assigned to Foreman, another Marine handler. The realization struck her hard. She had tried everything to keep Rex from being sent back to combat, but the system had already made up its mind. She confronted Martin, pleading for an alternative, but his hands were tied. Rex was a Marine dog, and his fate was dictated by the institution. Desperate, Megan spent every moment possible with Rex before his reassignment, knowing she couldn't change the inevitable. When she finally returned home, her mother, Jackie, tried to make peace with the situation by buying Megan a new puppy. The gesture backfired spectacularly. Megan was deeply offended, furious at the mere suggestion that Rex could be replaced. The argument escalated, ending with Megan packing her bags and leaving for Bob's house, choosing distance over forced comfort. But the distance couldn't silence the PTSD. A car alarm outside the house triggered a violent reaction. Her body tensed, her breathing hitched, her mind transported back to Iraq. The next day, she reacted even more strongly when she saw a dog locked inside a car, overwhelmed by the memories of war. Martin had been right. Megan wasn't the same, and returning to civilian life wasn't easy. The Marines had changed her, and she couldn't just erase that part of herself. A year later, Megan had stabilized, attending PTSD support groups for war veterans, finding control in routine, and grounding herself in a world outside of combat. But Rex was always in her thoughts. Her days felt empty, missing the dog that had saved her life. Bob, tired of seeing his daughter struggle, finally pushed her, saying she had to find a way back to Rex. And while doing that, he insisted she needed to move forward, get a job, reconnect with society, and find a new purpose. The fight wasn't over. Megan would have to battle the system itself to get Rex back. Megan's fight to reclaim Rex was relentless. A battle against bureaucratic decisions, military regulations, and the fading hope that she might ever see him again. Nearly every day, she picked up the phone, dialing headquarters in an attempt to speak with Foreman, the Marine who had been assigned to Rex. But her calls were met with rejection after rejection, each refusal cutting deeper. Yet, she refused to stop trying. Then, unexpectedly, Foreman called her back. His voice carried news that sent Megan into motion. Rex was finally retiring, though the vet still didn't believe he was suitable for adoption. Even more concerning, Rex's health had begun to deteriorate, adding another layer of urgency to Megan's mission. Determined to overturn the decision, Megan took matters into her own hands. She sought out a senator, a military veteran who might understand her plea, detailing the missions she and Rex had accomplished in Iraq, the life-saving work they had done together, and her desperate need to bring him home. The senator listened, absorbing every word, and finally, he pledged his support. But Megan didn't stop there. She took her fight to the public, gathering signatures for a petition to pressure military leadership. Her unwavering determination caught the attention of media outlets, and soon, she went viral, drawing national awareness to her cause. An invitation to a television interview followed, where Megan faced the cameras, pleading her case. Rex was not dangerous. He was simply scared, just like her. He suffered from PTSD, just like her. He deserved a second chance. The momentum was undeniable. By the time her petition closed, 22,000 people had signed in support of her efforts, an outpouring of backing that even Martin, the man who had once doubted Megan's civilian future, stood in admiration of. Then, the day arrived, Rex's retirement ceremony. At headquarters, Megan reunited with Morales, who had also come to bid farewell to his own canine partner, Chico. Morales had one last mission before retiring, but before Megan could ask further, he hinted that Rex would be returned to her. The news electrified her. As the ceremony concluded, Rex spotted Megan, and without hesitation, he bolted toward her, his excitement breaking through the disciplined posture of a retired Marine dog. There was no hesitation, no uncertainty. Rex recognized his handler, his true home. With Rex finally by her side, Megan's journey had come full circle. Their story resonated so deeply with the public that they were invited to Yankee Stadium, honored for their service together. Rex, now free from duty, spent the remainder of his years living with Megan until his passing in late 2012. Megan did not stop after losing Rex. She continued her life's work as a bomb detection dog trainer, working with her new partner, Patriot, for both the UN and the New York Yankees, ensuring that the skills she had honed with Rex lived on. Her passion remained, working as a veterinary technician in New Jersey, dedicating herself to the care and training of working dogs, carrying Rex's legacy with her always.